All right, hey everybody, welcome back to another day of the Basketball Embassy International Clinic. It is my biggest pleasure to welcome Coach Vitas Valulis. Coach, how you doing today?
Well, hello, Mark. Hello, coaches. Thanks. I'm doing great. Just waiting for all of this to end and then finally, get back to do what we all love. But it is what it is. And just let's keep patient and let's wait for our moment.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I understand we're going to be talking about player development, right? So, Coach, can you tell us how what is your approach and kind of started in pointing us in the right direction?
Well, player development, it's a broad topic. Like first of all, I'd like to give a shout out to my mentor, Kevin Sutton, Rhode Island. Sorry, University of Rhode Island. He was my coach in high school, and he has mentored me throughout my college career as well as coaching career now. So just that holistic approach mixed with a lot of skills, a lot of hours, put for dedication for this craft, and just trying to be as serviceable as you can, to all who are around the game of basketball, who are involved, towards your goals, and just overall being, a person who is doing good for the community and stuff like that. So like the holistic approach, and then going more into the skills, understanding of the game, and all that relates, this great game of basketball. So but for me, everything as in the presentation will show starts with a footwork, starts with fundamentals, just like for a big house. First you have to lay a good ground, and you have to make sure it's going to hold up, how many floors you want to build. But it goes from the feet. So just basic footwork stuff, a lot of repetition, then putting through game situations as much as you can, and definitely letting the kids or players, male, female, have fun, and let them play, get them through situations that demand those skills to be shown.
Awesome, awesome. All right, Coach. So why don't we go ahead and get to your presentation right now?
Of course. Okay, so let's jump in, and we'll start with fast break footwork. It's gonna be jumping from game film to practice videos. So it will be like the situations that we see when we watch the games, and then how to work on them in the practice and the workout, individuals, group sessions, and stuff like that. So I'll go quick, but the first thing is being able to be a master of your feet, at fast pace. So for example, in this situation, we have a player who's going full speed, right? And then he has to go without a travel, trying to get to the spots, and trying to make a play. I always say a good miss is when there's a rebound opportunity. So there's going to be some misses. Another one, just kind of passing, catching, and going. So uh, another situation can be, when the player kind of goes full steam, and then he doesn't have, so he needs to kind of pull on the brakes, and see the situation developing from there. So the drills that, we can implement is just simple. Go full speed, of course, good warm up and all that needs to be done before, but then just kind of demand for the players, to engage into this game situation, and try to mimic it, the footwork that they will see in the game. So the progression, it's coming next. We see the same. Yep, he's going, full speed, got to make layups. But then the progression would be just like we saw in the previous clips, is when we go full speed and there's a mistake, and I applaud it because the player is going full speed. This is how you know that, he's trying to get better. Mistakes are part of the game. But here, he pulled back. There he is, excuse me. He pulls back, he passes up, just like in the game, he waits for his moment, and then he needs to use that same footwork that, can be met in the game when he needs to catch and go, get in the paint, one dribble, and finish. Okay, the next situation, excuse me. We'll get to the part where there's some practical drills. So recently I added to my routines after the skills work, more of a game situation. So here we have a player who's sprinting. He has to touch the ball. And then the next player who's going from half court, he uses that same footwork that we just saw before, and he goes full speed. So player passes the ball, and then he plays one-on-one. There's one more clip. The ball starts from the half court, he passes, he kind of waits a little bit till the ball is touched, and then he goes full speed. So this is kind of how I would say starts building of the player's game. So we'll see more in this next session. Excuse me, we'll put the sound off. So here we'll see just what it is, footwork from the perimeter. Like in this clip, we see what is a good shot. You know, of course, we have to teach our players the shot is not contested, you know, take it. So in this case, there's the obvious under closeout. You know, he takes a shot, boom. So when you're working with players, you kind of show them video, you show them what is a good shot, how the players work with their feet, you know, what shots do they look for. This is one dribble now to the left, to the right, from the lefty and the righty. Okay, just simple stuff, you know, but it can be practiced daily. So, for example, this is Edgaras Ulanovas. He's Žalgiris swingman. Yeah, he's been for Žalgiris now 5+ more years, and you know, and even him just kind of going through this monotonous work of catching the ball, you know, looking at the basket, taking a shot, just basic routines done every day. You know, shooting form, you know, getting the good stance, getting good, you know, hand position, off ball, on ball, then going a little bit further out off the basket, you know, just getting reps, doing some one dribble pull-ups, going left, going right. This is open step for the lefty. You know, he's pretty good, you know, for his size, but it's how we approach things, you know, and I'm a big believer of doing things consistently over time, you know, and this might bring you serviceable results, you know, in a real game situation, because this is where the confidence builds. Okay, so in the next section, we'll have, sorry again. In this next section, so when we get through all these drills that are kind of basic, I say they warm-up drills, you know, we then can get into some more difficult stuff. And in this case, we have Arnoldo Skulboga. He's a player for Bilbao. You know, he's a great shooter. So with great shooters, you can add some difficulties. So let's say change direction. You know, he's a NBA range guy, so he can change one dribble pull up. You know, it can be done from various situations, like a closeout and stuff. But then, as I said, you know, if things done properly, then we can see, you know, those results mimicking. As we see, is it looks as if just behind the back, you know, one dribble pull up. But what he is working on, he's working on low stance, staying low until the shot, pounding the ball into a shot, going up into it, and just building reps. In the game situation, he might fade, go close out, being cut, gets into an open spot, shoots it. And this is just a simple escape, but gosh, it gives a lot of excitement when you see a player working out a little bit with you and then go into the game. Now we see a EuroLeague player on the routines here shooting. So just getting, you know, to the routines and just doing them over and over with time, you know, will give you beneficial results in the long run. Right here, we'll see just drives of, you know, the footwork. So just catching it, looking at the basket, driving it, you know, strong, and not traveling, doing it, you know, with the floater and stuff. So just putting layers now together. So we got catch closeout. You know, we go hard to the lane. We're trying to get to the rim with as minimum as a route as possible. Here we have players going through like the secondary defender, just getting them understand, you know, the importance of driving to the gap. And one of the teaching points is you have to drive below the elbow or above the second hash mark, which is the block area, so the players can have some kind of target of where they're driving when they're doing the drills. I'll just stop excusing. This is my first presentation, so I'm working on it, get better. So yeah, they just go, get to the rim, finish through contact, finish through secondary defender. Let's move on. So a step back is another staple that I use a lot in my workouts, and I recommend also, all level players to master this. It's a serviceable thing that creates an extra space for your shot, and just put it into a workout as well. Also, it's important to say to the players that it's not, always a shot. It might be a pass. So again, Edgar Solanova is here, just kind of now working into a game situation where he's drifting into the corner and he's looking up for his shot. Now he's in the game against Finland with Lithuania's national team, where he played a friendly match and he did exactly the same footwork. So it's, again, just kind of gives you that momentum to believe in things that you do and get better at it by teaching it, by giving players the understanding of when and where to use it, the details of where to put, your feet when you go and, towards left, towards right and stuff like that. But just kind of, just sizzling that pattern of which you can be confident with when you go into the workout, and just giving players, more of that confidence through, those situations, and hopefully seeing them doing into the game. Let's go now, different situations where to apply footwork. So we have an open step drive, an extra pass, a good 1-2 step into a shot. So again, just showing those clips to the players before you go work out, just go into the middle, giving it an extra pass for the wide open teammate, creating a shot. Now we got a lift, we got lift off the corner, we got catch, we got shot, we got catch, we go, just different footworks that can be mastered. This is more of a hop, it's just what's more comfortable to the player, but being consistent with it. Now it's, just catching and going into it. It might be of a cut when you feel in the dead spot. Again, this is a righty. He's catching that ball. He's catching it on a wing. He's going, but he's not traveling. He's keeping that left foot on the floor. He's making that legal dribble to the right. Now he's beating the secondary defender. Okay. And it's all can be done in workouts. It can be group of players that, just rotates through passing. Okay, let's go. Let's just finish this thought. Through passing, through playing defense, just kind of working on maybe chasing through the screens, then getting the ball, and then mimicking like half of a defender on the side, just giving, a teammate an opportunity to learn, to understand the situation and how it evolves in the game. So we're going out, putting layers together. So he worked a little bit on floater. Okay, now we add that movement of that feet, just going without the trowel, being consistent with it every time, going left, going right, adding different shots, 1 dribble, 2 dribble pull-ups. Okay, we have this Sergey young guy who's been great recently since the gyms were still open. But yeah, just going through the same pattern, adding the step back. Again, just what you believe in, just kind of giving as a bread and butter. Okay, so now transition shots. Okay, it's obvious, you catching it, you good balanced, you shoot it, you run your lane, you're always ready to shoot, because this is what creates the advantage for your offense. So this is the drill that I like to do when you put those things together. So you got Marius Grigonis and Edgaras Ulanovas, both Žalgiris players, working on just running into like a fast break lane, shooting it, and then going up into a lift shot. And the footwork is always consistent. The jab gives balance. It kind of gets the core, the feet together. You know, they work on that rhythm and timing with the ball handler who's working on top. Okay, so kind of complimenting him.
Nice.
Yeah, and then he's doing that same footwork, little jab, okay, and going in for the shot. Okay, I just threw in a little drill. So if you have a big group, you can come up with some things that can work on players' movement, not standing and waiting in the line. Let's go again. Yep. So here they go. They just keep moving. So it's a pass. It's a fill in, kind of like, you know, somebody just made a cut. So there's a dead spot, an extra pass. This is Calipari's drill. This is how it can be coached. So it can be a lift. It can be just like standing into a spot and just waiting for the closeout. Okay, now it's getting more popular, just kind of getting players, you know, beat the secondary defender. You know, we have one almost. So how the drill goes, so we have a coach with the ball, or, you know, a player. If there's a 4-player group, you know, they can compete. You know, after they do the skill, as I mentioned previously, they can go into a competition mode where they just go, you know, first 3 scores, everybody rotates through the spot, and it's basic stuff. Just touch the 3-point line as a secondary defender. You know, we have get to the paint with both feet, you know, close out just to simulate more of a game situation. He goes quick catch and go, beats to the spot the secondary defender, just getting into this mode of attacking. Okay, so it kind of gets done with that chapter. Let's go through the pick and roll situations. What I've learned recently about pick and roll in practice or workout settings, it's a great tool to warm up. You have players, you know, working in unison, working on passing, working on cutting, different types of situations. So let's jump. So we'll go with a pass first. So we have, you know, a late pass, what it's called. So the screener's defender is on the line. You know, he kind of lets go his man behind him. So it's a late pass. So, you know, you throw behind. So we have a group of coaches, you know, just helping players to understand how it works, you know, getting an extra shot for the ball handler. So working on now a pocket pass, I believe. Yep. So first, what you want to teach is you want to teach players, like here we have great players, you know, giving examples of going away from the pick, you know, getting the better angle and then attacking it and just making, you know, the right read. There's a lift guy in the corner, you know, and what I'm, you know, trying to get to and eventually through this whole presentation, I'd like you to leave with the feeling is when you give players, you know, understanding or kind of like guidelines, you know, of what they can do when they do this situation, you know, what tools they have when they catch the ball on the wing, and then, you know, they have this type of, you know, situation like we have here, you know. So it kind of gets player more confident. You know, the workout becomes more how to say, comfortable for both players, you know, and coaches, because they understand what to be expected every day and how they can build it day to day, adding different nuances and layers, you know, just like with the building. You know, if you have good base, then you can build that third, you know, fourth floor and stuff like that. So here we had the late pass. So kind of get the idea, but just getting players to work on it and feel comfortable in those situations. So now we have a change of the angle, you know, or if the defense, you know, force you to the sideline, you know, just kind of getting big and understand that he's not always, you know, roller finisher. You know, there might be a last man who collapses on him, so he needs to be that, you know, threat on the pass to kick on the 3-point line. You know, just getting fresh look for the players, you know, instead of being monotonous. So now we got snake action going on, so just what we worked on before. But then again, you go with the clips, you show players where, how to find yourself in the game if you'll be, put in this situation, and then just kind of believe in those reps that you've done and go with it. Okay, this next part, I took it from Cody Topper, and this is something that bigs strive on, and they go for the offensive rebound. Sorry for this little inconvenience, guys. Okay, girls. So, okay, I jumped too far. So yeah, the snake and then the follow. So what happens here is same, change the angle. Okay, fake snake, go towards the rim, use that hockey goal. As Cody Topper says, try to get behind the defense, maybe force a switch, a mismatch. Bigs then, just follow, doing their job, just rolling hard to the rim. If they don't get this pass, from the roll, they always a tread on the board. Okay, so here he goes. He just gets that rebound, he finishes. Then we have a game situations, Gustavo Yon, he's a player for Zenit. Okay, if he follows the board, he might got lucky there, but it's luck. That gets you two offensive rebounds sometimes. But then again, just getting to the point, establishing your philosophies and finding ways to get them into practice, workout routines and stuff like that. So working out on transfer pass, being a tread on a short roll, just also finding a ways to get a shot for the players, getting them the understanding that big time clubs like Barcelona, they look for this action a lot. So let's say it's a first look, if it's overplayed, it's a backdoor cut. Okay, we have another situation where we have a transfer. Okay, maybe go away from the pick. You got to tell all those things, beating the secondary defender. Again, Barcelona playing it. Now he goes backdoor. He comes back again. Now he gets hard into the paint. Okay, and I guess we'll move on now to the pick and roll for the guard. So also the drills that I like to do a lot for the warm-up, as I said in the beginning, is just to get players, working through their routes, bringing up the ball as a guard, just doing the basic stuff, rolling hard to the rim. It's self-explanatory. Doing from both sides. It can be, for reps, it can be from time. So then, we have first it starts with a guard being aggressive. So he got to have this understanding that he needs to be, either it's a soft hedge, a hedge. He needs to get around that big guy in order to force, what they call triggers now. And then from there on, you build your philosophy. If it's either, extend that hedger, make a pocket pass, short roll for the big guy, jumper. I actually more for one ball in the drills instead of two, but if head coach, that case demands, the drill to be done in a certain way, of course you have to adjust, because as everybody says, it's a game of adjustment. But just getting through the reads, getting through the simplistic stuff, and then letting them play, having them, play in situations 3-on-3, 2-on-2, 4-on-4 and stuff like that. And then it's a good way, to see what needs to be done for the next session and stuff like that. So let's go on to the next ball screen skills for guards. Okay. Well, starting as usual from the simple stuff and then advancing into a more so just basic situation where the guard, kind of gets stuck with the dribble and he needs to find an outlet on perimeter. He finds, a big guy and he goes for the handoff. We have a couple situations here. Okay, just player gets the handoff, looks to make a play. Okay, it's scripted play, but in the practice, I'd like to give guards sometimes instead of one dribble pull up left, right off the spot up situation, just kind of bringing up the ball, getting that, short pass, changing the speed, and then going for the one dribble pull up, getting through the usual spots, wings, elbow, stop. So it's self-explanatory, guiding them going through the factory routine, just getting 10 makes, going for time, adding a little bit of a layer, just kind of changing the speed, bringing up defender away, making them understand, bringing transition, be a threat, try to get somewhere, make a play. I added a clip of mine, but if the player is struggling bringing up the ball face up, we can teach them just go back to the basket. Again, wait for the screen to arrive, kind of get the swipe off, get to the spot, shoot it. So just 2 dribble pull-ups, faced in situations. It can be done from, again, top, wings, just going 2 dribble right, 2 dribble left, showing the situation maybe before the workout, if you're going to introduce, this is a drop, we shoot against the drop, you got to be aggressive, again, roll hard, big, guy from the corner lifts, weak side movement. Now, I'd like to, of course, this is all, basic stuff, but then, we get into the details and, it should be obvious, to all of you that, in the levels that you go, there are, more of little nuances. So in this case, we'll have a little change of speed. So we teach players also to take your time, wait for the screen, and then change the speed and, get to the spot, make that, play. We'll see more from the couple next clips. There's also going to be a guy, from recent workout who did, again, approach the screen and then just see what's your read, what's your situation. So it's slow and then it's a fast decision, pull up. Okay, now we have a guy and he's making a little change of speed. Okay, I know it looks a little bit like, raw materials, but the basic is just get to your spot, exchange the hands. Again, if you can, just back him up, but be slow and then off a screen, attack it. We have another situation where we have a drop, and you need to get around that big, who bigs, don't like to be laterally fast. So beating, away, beating through the secondary defender, the drills that we can implement is just have a player beat, like a first defender and then imitate, he's going through the contact, trying to finish it. Give him a read, if it's there, take it. If it's not, shoot it. If it's wide open, pull. Should maybe, pull a little bit earlier. But we have just an example of players going, through the situation. Okay, he gets a good stop here, he pulls it. Okay, these are for a couple of years ago, but players working on attacking of a closeout of a little pick and pop game, attacking of just like straight line drive when you get to the secondary defender. Okay, so simple stuff. Player kind of simulates that he beat the first defender, then the second defender comes from the elbow, he's in a disadvantage. They need to play live. There might be a short roll or a pop. He needs to create his own situation, but again, just working on it and then letting them do it in a game situation. Okay. Now we'll have a couple situations where guards drive, they're faced with a big who rotates on them. They got to make that quick drop off pass to the dunker area. Okay. Again, player of ours, Andre Albisi, passing to Ostavion. Okay. So the situations, again, self-explanatory. Now we work with the players maybe on, just handling the pressure, getting into the paint, making the pass, spacing out into the 3-point, the second penetration, driving in, working on that drop-off pass. It can be just beating, of that created advantage, as if you try to get somewhere, you had an advantage made, you kind of pull back, you cross him on that second try of his to steal the ball, you get to the spot, you make a drop-off pass. Just finding a ways to give players this game time feel and rep it in a workout, individual, group session. Okay, so let's go on the second one. Okay, so going to the next layer is going to be more of games time situations, but this is what I said, I'm trying to lead is when you give the basis for the player to feel comfortable, then you can, throw him more into the situation where he's going to face in the game, and then see how he takes what's been taught, how he handles himself in let's say close to a pressure situation. You cannot call the practice close even to the game situation, but just going there and seeing how he reacts, adjusting, talking, showing more video, and then again going at it with an extra motivation. So now we have just simple understanding of how to get into the spot. Okay, and this is me just a couple years ago showing that you got to get to the player that's in the rotate situation, in the rotation spot. So we have a good example here. We have a young player who's trying, to understand. And as I showed before, you have to attack him fully. You have to get him to meet you in the air. And then if he's going to be in restricted zone, you're going to get fouled. You're going to go to the free throw line. And here he is. He just goes hard. And then, the big guy does what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to clean up the glass and just make, the shot. So just working with players through the situations where, they can do 2-on-2, they can do 3-on-3. Again, we have a guy, great player, Mitsov. He's driving, he's dumping it off. We have a situation here. Again, you have to understand it. You have to be aggressive. So you drive. If he doesn't stop you, you go finish. Okay. Next time he stops you, you make that pass. You find the better spot for the big guy. He makes his shot. We drive again. We don't accept the challenge. We dump it off. Okay. We don't have anything. We got 2 on us. We kick it out. We got 2 on us. We kick it out. It's just, that holistic approach to the basketball of being, unselfish, of making an extra pass, of just being, what I like, one quote is I'll share real quick, is it's be the teammate that makes, others great. This is straight way of being likable on a team. And this is what, Coach Sutton preached us at Montfort Academy. This is the way all of us who've been around him, around his family, we try to take this with us and just kind of spread around. So just taking it into the practice and, just, again, making players feel comfortable, confident, just doing, the routine, and then getting the routine into the action. This is a good way. Don't just accept what's given to you. Try to get to the middle of the defense. You'll have more options. Again, 2, make it on a easy shot. Don't shoot it tough. An extra pass and stuff like that. So. Okay, there's situations, but another way is it's studying the game. It was 2 years ago. I showed this to the guys, but this was the clip from this year's season. But just being, in the spot as a coach where the details of specific position, and then understanding, the situation that it can evolve into it, and just having that certain skill to show the best of your qualities. So it goes from both, players and coaches. So recently video has been a big opening to me. I've spent last good 2 months just working on, getting the film from the games of EuroLeagues, watching the best players, putting them in the clips, and it's also a big thanks to one of my colleagues, okay, Bogdan Karaicic, B-Hoops. He showed me that, it's one way to get your points across to the players, instead of trying, go through drill and then, maybe stay at the same spot for a longer time than if you would go. Okay, let's approach to our last couple of clips here. Catch and shoot routine. So I should have added in the beginning because I believe, the beginning of the workout or practice, if it's individual, goal oriented, should strive to be around just getting a good warm up. It might be thanks to the just spot up shooting, going right, left with one dribble, adding some basic movement like just coming off a little pin down, just maybe flaring off, but just getting player moving and getting him feeling comfortable with different positioning on the floor, maybe going one way, maybe going backwards, and then going to the part where you need to accomplish something. So for the day, it might be getting to two dribble pull-ups, of going full speed off the lift, off the drift. Then, maybe next day it can add some more layers of a secondary defender where he needs to beat, primary, then go around in secondary. Then you add the group drill where they go off, let's say, diamond situation. When they catch the ball, if they don't have anything, they go into pick and roll and just kind of building off of it. So yeah, so shooting, then you go into your part that you need to done individually, then you're putting into a game situation, see how it goes, and from there, you build the next practice schedule. I think the big part of it's planning. So if you have those goals for meso cycles, for micro cycles, then you kind of fit yourself in a schedule, and you kind of orient where you want to go to, what players supposed to achieve through the certain timelines, and then go from there. So but let's get back to shooting routine. So we have just again clips of great shooters coming off. Of course, it's a range, but it can be extended as the practice goes on. You can start closer, then you can extend further out. Coming off, just catch and shoot. Okay, we have Marius Grigonis from Žalgiris again, coming off. Even if defender goes under, it's not a necessarily flare, but you have to study, you have to show all those situations for the player, get them understand. Now we just work on basic, coming off, shooting it, setting up your man before the cut, always do from both sides. So you do one, you do same on the opposite, getting hands ready before the shot, staying lower, going through the motion. It's boring, but it's a good warm-up, flare, shot, same footwork every time. Then, we build, maybe going off the corner for the lift, getting into the paint like we saw before. Okay, there's another situation that can be done. And I was just scrambling through clips, but it was fun. I had to go through all my library to find it. Just ways to work on it, just again, it can be done in different ways, but if you have willing as a player, and if you have, knowledge, heart, as a coach, you can find situations to work on. Here we just work on fake, going without the travel, getting into a little short jumper area. Okay, so now we coming off. Again, telling the player, you might not be, the trigger every time to shoot. You might be just coming off. You might catch the ball. You might just drive, and then next play is right play to make. It's a short pass. So we have players here just catching it, curling it, going strong. You have to tell them, first of all, you just always try to be aggressive. Try to create your own by reading. If the big is not showing, if the guard is chasing, it's mostly every time a drive. So we had before, just going for the shot. If it's not there, just be aggressive, take it to the rim. Okay, the next part is, again, he just pops out like a little pop. If defender goes under, it doesn't matter. Let's say the defender chases him to last, he goes behind or over, just kind of be aggressive, get to the rim. Give 3-4 scenarios, don't forget passing into your drills. Okay, the player should get a good understanding of what is expected, how it needs to be executed, and then we'll see later, just give them again some game like drills, put them through play, get them to play 2-4, 2-5, quick games to 3. I mean, who scores first 3? Okay, this is being aggressive, going to the rack. But again, just it kind of ties up. He came off in the previous clip from that little handoff action. He didn't have anything. It's just, teaching that it's a broader picture than just, doing the drills coming off, but the video helps. So now if the big comes at you, you make that dump off pass, that quick pass. So in group sessions, again, just work like a factory line. Set him up, coming off, shoot it, set him up. Good part of the warm up, in my opinion, it's shooting, spot ups. This is the drill. Just kind of reading off of it. There's some limitations. If defender goes under, you can go to the paint. If defender goes over, you need to shoot only away from the 3-second line. This is the drill that I took from Drew Hanlon. And at the end, I just want to kind of say, a couple of the sources that I like. Of course, Drew Hanlon is very famous, but there are other guys who I'd like to introduce if the general public is not familiar yet. For some of it might be, for some of, you, it might be already familiar. But yeah, just drills. So that's about it. There are other topics that we can cover, as far as finishing getting more popular, switching and stuff like that. But the basic that I put for this session is just, being the master of your feet, getting to understand game situations where you'll be required to do it, getting them, options to finish it, whether it's being on balance and getting into your spot, being on balance, creating a shot with the step back, or making a right play for the next open teammate, and then just go from there. Just routine, a lot of repetition, monotonous, adding different layers day to day, mixing it up sometimes. Maybe sometimes it's good to start with some weak hand stuff, like finishing with the right hand if you're lefty, finishing with the left if you're righty. Just finding ways not to get boring, and then get to the main part, which is play, and see how they do. Nothing new. Everybody's following the same methodology basically, but it's just my approach, the way I kind of put it through years. I'm thankful, for the Coaches Summit for giving me the opportunity to put it all together. Kind of gave me a little bit of just structuring of how I see the game. So I recommend for all of you, striving, young coaches who are more into individual part, just have your own philosophy, have a footage of how you can back it up if you go to work with your players, and then just go from there. The day-to-day grind, will get you there, and then best of luck from there. The road is yours. So I think that'll wrap up my presentation. Thank you for the opportunity again. If any questions, then
Awesome.
I'll be glad to answer.
Awesome, Coach. Thank you so much. That was, I really like that one. I really like how you emphasize, the footwork and making sure everything, all the fundamentals are right before you advance. Can you please talk about structuring your workouts, and especially throughout the season? Like, is there something that you especially focus on in the preseason, and does it differ from how you work out for players in the in-season and also the off-season? Can you talk about that?
In season, it's definitely more of a game situations. You have to touch it quickly because there's a practice that's gonna be the main part for the players. And if they're gonna have 30, 45 minutes at best, not including the morning sessions, which can be, more load heavy, then I would say it's just getting them to feel the contact, just like in the drill that I showed players going through pads. Just getting players understand that they come on the floor, they got to be ready already. There's not time, to start with, basic jogs and then, high knees. At that time, we have to be fully ready to go at it. So just give them couple, 2, 3 drills at max, that gets them feeling their body through the contact. It might be a pad, it might be a 50%, 60, 70% defense, whatever you want to call it. And then just go through the main portion that needs to be done. If the team plays more of staggers coming off, in that particular player, then, get him through that stagger situation. If the player is more of a ball dominant, type, then you get him through that pick and roll. It might be 3-on-3, 2-on-2, and just give him game like reps. What concerns, in season, it's more of a game. What concerns preseason, it's more of an introduction. You have to give players guidelines. You have to introduce your main drills that you're going to go with through the season. You have to get players understanding that it's going to be, demanding. So there might be some drills there's going to be challenging, and, in preseason, it can be some even cardio drills that they need to be doing, for like duration of 30, 45 seconds nonstop with different types of shots, just, getting more into a shape. And then, yeah, of course, more structure towards just getting the right, movements, getting the right footworks, as I emphasized, getting adjusted to the new coaches, because in professional basketball here in Europe, there are a lot of coaching changes. So you have to kind of learn quickly the schemes, the methodologies of head coaches, and introduce them to the players. And then, yeah, just try to do the best that you can in the short time, because it's mostly 4 weeks. And then you have on top of it, all the introductory part from your head coach. And then off season, it's where, individual coaches thrive on, and it's my favorite part of the year as well. You get players hungry, you get players, willing to invest in themselves, prepare for the next chapter in their career. So this is where most of the development as a coach happens, I believe. So this is where we try new stuffs as skills coaches. We try new drills, and then kind of, prepare the players as well for what's next, in their future. Again, based on their game type, what are their specificalities, what they do best. Watching video, all now it's available, through the media. So just getting them their game film, talking, deciding, going at it. But the staple is always the same. Decide what you're comfortable with. Let's do it over and over again. Let's try to put a little bit of the defense around you in the off season. We don't try, to go too much life, but we try to get things get done so they can feel as if they're doing that in a practice setting when the season starts and stuff like that. But different ways to approach it as far as routines. And I think this will answer the question the way, I saw the question, the way I heard the question. So as I said, it can be starting with the shooting, basic, just close, go further out, add movement, add a game situation, add more like layered stuff, like one shot followed by the second, and then, a final third, maybe, of something transition type. Just getting players understand, that you are with them, you study their game, you try the new things and what's best for them, you ask their opinion, and then different ways to approach it. But the best thing about it should be for the players when the coach comes prepared. So just know what you're gonna do that day, know what you're gonna do for that week, for that month, have a big picture in mind, go at it, be as professional as you can, and just wait for the best, because if you put that work, the best outcomes are ahead. So this is the mindset for the player, for the coach, and give time. It's not always gonna happen, in 2-3 week period. Sometimes it might need to be a season or two. But don't just expect it to be done in first meeting. So I think patience is another big thing for players and the coaches that work towards this thing together.
Coach, do you have any specific number that you tell your players to shoot every day? Like, let's say you need to shoot at least 200 shots on a daily basis, or 300 shots, or whatever it is.
Well, the workouts should consist at least around 300 shots. It would be great to getting 500 shots if he's a high volume shooter, but we can't forget, that certain players are more of role players. They might need to be do more of that stuff that gets other players open. So if it's a big who's doing more of a roll or screening, away from the ball, he might need to be doing some extra running before he gets his shot. So it's tough to vary. It goes from, it goes from player to player. It varies from player to player. So if it's a shooter that's coming off, or he's a high volume shooter in the game, then he's definitely going to be getting his 500. If he's more of a role player who's doing cutting, 300 in between. If he's learning something new, that day he might, get 100, but he's going to do something that he needs to learn in order to get ahead a little bit into his playing minutes and stuff like that. So it varies as everything. But getting shots, it's a big key. Getting shots, it gives confidence. It builds the next layer that can be done through it. If you're getting that shot, then the closeout's gonna come. The closeout's gonna come. There's gonna be somebody's open, and then you can work towards finishing, work towards reading the situation. So, of course, shooting is a big thing, and nowadays basketball, everybody needs to shoot. Even 1 through 4, 5 in some cases. Not too much, but it's common, they saying. So definitely get those shots.
How do you measure progress with your players? How can you actually know, like, oh, are they getting better? Do you only take game stats, or are there any type of measurement that you do during your individual workouts?
Well, of course, working in unison with the coaching staff, just asking their opinion, how they doing during the practices when they go on, with the main roster. We're talking about, more of the guys who needs to advance into their rotations, because the pros in EuroLeague, they have their routines. All you can do is mainly help them to stick with them, be there when they need you. If there's injury that has occurred, then you work with him through rehabilitation. But again, you rely more on his comfortableness, and you help him as much as you can. With the younger guys and the rotation guys, or those who been pointed by management or coaching staff that needs to do the extra work, then of course you go through monitoring their practices, how they're doing in them. If the guy is getting limited minutes, sometimes he's not playing, then once in a while he's definitely going to get a 5-minute window into a game. You can judge it from there. How is he performing in his window of real game action? And then there are different shooting drills that you can see how are they progressing. For example, one drill that I like to do with shooters, and again, this is also taken from Drew Hanlon, is you get them spots. You get them 10 basic spots, mid-range three-pointer. You give them one dribble pull-up, again, going from those same spots. Then you extend into a little bit further out, and it sums up around 250 shots. You give him in the beginning of a month, you give him into the middle of a month, you give him at the end of a month, and then you see how his percentages are going up. I've done it in the past, and it's a great motivation for the players. They like to compete, of course, so they see it. You can give time measurements. One day player competed with the drill and he beat it in a certain amount of time. You throw that drill 5 days later. You tell him that, hey, this was your last time. Now you can beat it. He's definitely gonna try harder. And you go from there. Just of course having some monitors that help you to see the progress, it helps out. But the best ones are, of course, the game. So you kind of, work with the player, letting him know that your, chance is coming. Be ready, perform best. We'll see how it goes from there. We need to add something. We need to take something out. We'll do it. But, just be at your best.
Awesome. Coach, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on. I feel like we all got a ton out of this. I'm definitely going to have to watch replay and take some more notes because this is a very valuable info. And, I really appreciate you coming on during these times and, sharing with us your secrets to player development. And I wish you all the best and good luck with next season.
Thanks a lot, Marek. But before I go out, I said that I'm going to mention some names, that, been my sources for this presentation. So
Absolutely.
just being, sharp and out of my head, most of the DVDs that have been influencing my philosophy has been from Mike Procopio, named as Hoop Consultants. Great coach. Really simplistic approach. He has this motto, dominate simple. So if you haven't heard of him or you've had it, but you've been doubting, I recommend strongly. Of course, classic Rob McClanagan, you can find, his DVDs are also there on Championship Production. Just find stuff that, you can search, Google it. Also, a good advice that I would give is follow the mentors and sources of those coaches who you're modeling to. So, for example, from Mike Procopio, I know he was big with camps in the. I don't want to mislead you now, but it's Valley something. Some Valley camps that are really big. I believe it's in Ohio. So, and there were tons of coaches with great names like Tate Slock, old school guys. Study old school because they say old school is forgotten. I'm sorry, new school is forgotten, old school. So study the sources from your mentors and it'll lead you to great ideas. It'll give you more confidence going into your next sessions when this all will over. Those two names. Also, Phil Beckner recently I discovered also a great simplistic approach towards footwork. Phil Beckner, and he's Damian Lillard personal coach as well as other coaches. Also, there are a lot of Instagram now gurus. Everybody has something, but the last thing that I'd say is be comfortable with who you are on the floor. So if you feel it and if you believe it in what you are giving to the players, then it's gonna reciprocate to the player. Okay, I mean, a lot of things I tried in my young career was being more of a like copy paste guy, but until I recently discovered that you have to be unique and you have to be in your shoes, this is where it's gonna be best part for the player, best experience, most transferable drills. So know your stuff before you give it in every drill, in every little nuance, and then it'll serve you wonders. So thanks again. Thank you, Marek, for this awesome hosting, and then good luck to all you coaches. Let's hope all this will end soon and we'll get back on the court.
Awesome, coach. Thank you so much. And I believe you meant to say Snow Valley Camp. It's in Iowa, and I believe in California with Coach Water. Yes, sir. All right. Thank you so much.
Great.
All right. You guys have a good one. I'll see you at the next session, and good luck with everything, Coach.
Appreciate for all who listen. Thanks for putting your time on. Bye.
Absolutely.